hammered drunk.
Drunk trade of the week.
Our drunk trade this week comes in from at Alexa Trade Talk. Hello, Alexa.
Hi, Alexa.
I am in a league with Alexa. It happens to be my favorite dynasty league. She happens to be one of my favorite people in all of my leagues. So I was excited.
Can I just interject here for a second? Are you just saying it's your favorite dynasty league because it involves these people and we're talking about it? Or is it just truly your favorite dynasty league?
Yes.
It's like picking children. They're all your favorites.
There are some that are distinctly not my favorites, but this one is in the upper echelon at the very least.
Fair enough.
Don't you try and undercut my sweetness, God damn it. But this trade from Alexa, it's a Superflex Dynasty. It is not my league. This trade does not come from my league. This comes from a different, presumably worse league. But she traded away the 103, and this was recent.
Okay.
This was only a couple weeks ago. She traded away the 103 rookie draft pick to acquire JK Dobbins from at Dynasty Coach A.
Hey, Dynasty Coach.
Hey, Dynasty Coach. Who got the better end? Inquiring minds want to know.
I guess it really depends how you feel about Dobbins. Personally, I'm assuming it's a Superflex PPR league.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Personally, I would keep the 103. I mean, if you're going for a running back, the first two picks are most likely to be Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. So then you've got your choice at 103 of the rest of the field that's out there as far as wide receiver, running back, or quarterbacks. From what I've seen, and my personal opinion is at the 103, you can get Najee Harris, who I know it's still landing spot dependent at this point, but depending on where he goes, he's going to be a stud and has all the attributes to be a 3-down running back in the NFL. Now, will he actually get that? Remains to be seen. Again, landing spot dependent, but I think at this point, I would have held out a little bit, maybe until after the draft to see where he lands. I just don't believe Dobbins is going to get the workload to be that number one running back. Spoiler alert for later in the episode here. But yeah, so I personally am not a fan of this trade. Again, it kind of depends on what we see once the NFL draft actually happens. But right now, I would have kept the 103.
So this is interesting for me because you mentioned that Dobbins may not get the workload. And just to that point, if we flash back to 2019, before Dobbins entered the picture, when Mark Ingram was the kind of solo dude there outside of Gus the Bus. But outside of Gus Edwards, it was Mark Ingram, and he did finish as the RB11 that year. Presumably, that's a space that Dobbins could occupy. Gus Edwards is still there and could still very well vulture opportunities from him. But that is his peak, as he can finish as an RB1, I think. But I think you're also right. I typically don't like to give up that high of a rookie pick this much before the rookie draft happens. And to be fair, I don't know when their leagues actually is, but most happen after the NFL draft do. Mm-hmm. I would rather watch that 103 climb up in value personally, and even sell a day before the day of the draft, because you can just get so much potential out of that because they're on the clock. And let's say that the two are Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields that go ahead of that. Everybody has their own pick for 103 at that point. Mm-hmm. So if somebody really wants to make sure they get their guy, they're going to give you a lot to get that guy. But in a bubble, I actually think this is pretty even. In terms of the drunk trades we've had, I think it is fairly even from a value standpoint.
As far as drunk trades go, this one isn't that bad. The other thing that gives me pause is Lamar Jackson is there, who can vulture touchdowns near the goal line as well. So, and we know touchdowns are very not sticky year to year. So with that on top of it, I mean, personally, I wouldn't have made this trade. I'd have to be a lot drunker than this to make that trade. But yeah, as far as drunk trades go, it's not terrible, but I personally wouldn't have done it.
Okay, so a little precursor then before we dip into the meat and potatoes of the running backs. To gauge your value on Dobbins, what if this pick was the 105? Would you make the trade then?
Oh God, I didn't prepare for this.
Yeah, I need to get your unedited opinion here.
It's really team dependent. I mean, that's much more reasonable. I'm trying to think of the rookie picks on kind of what I've seen the, super flex mocks go.
Because you could get another quarterback still, even potentially at 105, depending on how your draft falls.
Absolutely. So
I'm guessing that's closer.
It's better. Yeah, it's much closer.
Fair. Again, I think this fits into that. Do you want the sure thing? Which, if you believe Dobbins is a sure thing, then you go get it. Or do you want the 103, which could be anything? It could even be a Dobbins. So it's just, do you want the supposed security or do you want the pick?
That's right. It could be anything. It could even be a boat.
Exactly.